This is an SM Media production.
Welcome, folks, to our latest episode of Golf Talk, your exclusive SM Media Golf podcast. I'm Scott McPike. It's always a pleasure to be your host, and it is always a delight to be joined by one of the best minds in the golf game, the one and only Andy Fullen.
Aye, thanks, Scott. Busy couple of weeks coming up for us, especially for golf in Scotland with the Scottish Open, and obviously even more local for us with the Open down at Troon. Excited for the next couple of weeks.
I cannot wait. I always look forward when it's, especially when it's in your own back door as well. Like we're very lucky to be very close to Troon. Like it's the buzz is already. Like I was kind of near Troon yesterday, and was talking to a couple of people, and they just said like there's already kind of Americans coming over, and like it's. I remember 2016. I remember getting very friendly with a couple of Americans walking to the course one day, and I still contact them. Like it's, I mean, it's that kind of powerful thing, like kind of uniting together. We haven't been on since the US Open. There's been a lot happening in the golfing world, especially at the US Open. Andy, who would have thought Bryson DeChambeau would be the golfing sweetheart again and won his second major? There's a lot to unpack regarding the US Open, but first of all, to see Bryson becoming popular, as popular as he was when he won the first one, he just has really captivated an audience that I feel I've always had a wee soft spot for him if I don't want to admit it, but I think even more so now. I think there was a wee buzz when he won the US Open, and I've got to take my hat off to him for how he did it.
Yeah, I mean, how he's turned around his PR
Yeah.
and his image has been incredible. But fair play to him. I mean, I think Liv could be the best place for him. You know, I don't mean that kind of. It's like a difficult way of putting that across, but it means he's free to do his own thing, and he's very much doing that with all his YouTube stuff. He seems to really enjoy doing that as well, and he's really come out his shell a bit more. A couple of things have happened. He lost his dad and stuff like that, so he's a bit more mature as well. So maybe, we're all probably guilty of doing stuff when we're younger, and these guys are in the public spotlight, and saying kind of daft stuff, and these guys are kind of live or die by these kind of things. But I think he's maybe a bit more perspective, a bit more kind of realising that he has got a real place in the game, and he does. He's so niche, he's so golfing scientist, he gets called. He's really kind of living up to that, and he's just different. And golf's absolutely crying out for personalities. I mean, I've always appreciated what he, from a professional level. I appreciate what he was trying to do with like his body and hitting the ball a million miles and stuff like that. But I don't know. I've never really 100% really kind of took to run. Still kind of in that camp, but absolute fair play to him. I mean, the way he played that week was excellent. And we'll talk about Rory in a wee minute or two, but for the American fans to be shouting, USA for Bryson after he left the PGA Tour and went to live for the Saudis, try to sue the PGA Tour, and then fast forward 18 months and everyone loves him over there. It's crazy how it's changed.
Do you think he's the only player to go to live and elevate his popularity? Like, I can't think of anybody that you could say, like you made a point, obviously moving to live has kind of benefited them because like you could tell there was a frustration with him with the PGA and the kind of way the PGA worked. Like he's been able to go to live and just, as you say, kind of be able to do his own kind of YouTube thing. And like the old timers of golf will maybe not understand. His YouTube following is huge. Like, he is doing so well with it. And even to the point where he has very much put a possibility to the fact that he could be hosting a Trump-Biden golf game. I mean, that's not out the realms of possibility, but like the fact that, imagine saying that 2 years ago, but I can't help but think that, as you say, moving to live and having that freedom has helped him. And he's one of those ones I can think of that has.
Yeah, definitely. And like I say, he's really embraced it, and he's realised that is really the future of golf coverage, really, or golf as it, and it's being kind of put out by the media and stuff, traditional media and stuff. Really, I know it's changing in a lot of other sports as well, but certainly the endorsement deals that you're seeing with guys laying up, and the good guys, and all this, Rick Shields, for example. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, and he's no daft. He's collaborated with a lot of these people. He's kind of grown it, and but the difference with him is he can actually back it up. He is a proper world-class golfer, and he's doing the two roles, the dual roles, if you like, and Liv gives him time to do that. He's got 14 events a year, 4 majors, and he's and I think he's, you're absolutely right. I think he is the only one who's really elevated, certainly his popularity since going to Liv that I can think of.
Andy, let's get into Rory McIlroy. He couldn't have had a better chance. It's tough because he had a chance. He should have, to be honest. And I know Bryson won it. Bryson did deserve to win it, but what does it say about him? Like, he's had these moments where he has kind of thrown tournaments away, but this is the worst. This is undoubtedly the worst one for me, because he lost that because he didn't believe he could win. That's the only thing I can think of. That's
pressure.
It is, yeah.
Pressure, nerves, 100%. I mean, I think the part of the last, I think that was an incredibly tricky part, and a couple of players came out and said that. Ram, for example, came out and said, look, people don't appreciate how difficult a putt that was. Okay, it's 3.5 feet, just under 4 feet, whatever, and he should be holding it 99 times out of 100. That was unfortunately the one time he never, but it goes further back than that for me, though, because the little one he missed was at 16, 15, I think it was.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like 2 feet. I mean, you just can't, you can't do that in the back nine of a major when you're going stride for stride with someone and expect to win. You just can't do that. But then his decision making on the next was really poor. The par 3, he got away with it. He got a great up and down, but his head just looked gone. Then hitting driver off the last. I know Bryson did as well, and I think there was a little bit of a story behind why McIlroy done that. But I just think you're right. The belief there, you start to question all these cliches. Belief. Like I said, nerves, pressure. It just shows you how it affects even these guys. And did he want it too badly? I just thought, even at that part of the last, he was so quick. He was just in him, and he was lined up over it. You're sitting watching it in the house, obviously. And sometimes the angles can get a bit skewed, and you're just looking at it, you're thinking, he's aiming at miles outside the hole, and he just never committed to the stroke, missed it in the low side, and you just, people have put this point as across a lot and as a kind of simple point, but at the top of every single sport, as you'll know better than me, you could cover loads of different sports, but the fine margins are so, minuscule.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so easy to just go, it's his caddy or whatever, but I think he's so talented that he almost just needs someone to say to him, that's the club, hit it there, end of. you know, and I know he's a great success with Harry. He's a fantastic golfer himself and a very successful caddy, and he's done really well. But I think at the very, very top level, the margins are so tight, and I firmly believe that's a reason why he's not. There's talent wise, you've got to evaluate everything. The last 10 years for him not to win a major in some of the positions he's been in. Go back to the Open at St Andrews as well. He should have won that. That was his to win. They lost it. Cam Smith was brilliant, but McIlroy did nothing in the last round. That at Pinehurst was, I mean, that you seen his reaction at the end. You know, I mean, get criticised for that, but I mean, it's just that shows you how much it means to him and how much it is getting to him, you know. And I just think he's got to evaluate every single minuscule thing, and I just think it's an easy one, but it's also a difficult one for him. But I just think that he's tried everything else. You know, he's even went to a couple of different people with his swing and all that, and he's putting. That's the next thing. You know, he's just got to look at that. I think, you know, but. It'd be interesting to see, very interesting to see how he reacts at Troon.
The very interesting thing to me is that, like, yes, he was 2-up before to play. A full-time winner with the talent should win it for there, even if they've not won for 10 years. But how many times over the next week are we going to see that wonderful shot he played last year at the Scottish Open to win? They're even putting a plaque on it. And I get it's not a major, but it shows you he, in high pressure situations, that was a high pressure situation last year. It was against the hometown. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different tournament. I get that, but he did it then. How could he not do that? I mean, the pot of the 16th I think is worse than the 18th because he still has the initiative at that point. The 18th he's kinda the pressure is on him. The 16th pot's that and it's. I don't think DeChambeau comes back into it.
I think the putt at 16, I'm not saying it wasn't of course it was pressure and it was there, but I think that was literally, that could be put down to, I don't know, fatigue, complacency, anything at all, anything like that. You know, that was like 2 feet. I mean, you could grab somebody out the crowd that has never picked a golf club up in their life and you'd have put that in. You know, and that's a complete brain fart anomaly, whatever. But because he missed that then piles so much more pressure on his putt 18, and that's in the back of your mind. Golf does that to you. You know, we've all played it. You duff a bunker shot or whatever. You know, you can't get out the bunker or whatever. Next hole, where's your ball? It's in another bunker. You know, you miss a 3-footer. What have you got next hole? You've got another 3-footer. That's just the nature of the game. And I just think if he holds that in confidently, sets up the next tee, clarity of thought, it's a nice shot in. He does well to go up and down, like I said, but it was a totally wrong club, totally wrong shot he played. And then, you know, he's totally up against it and coming down the last, because Bryson hits it in close again. He at 17, his caddy's late coming to the tee. They think, you know, he's going to make that, so they try and force a birdie. Bryson doesn't make it again. He's coming out of his routine, coming out of his comfort zone, you know, and his process, as Americans like to call it. And again, top players who are in control at that time don't do that, you know, and that's a unfortunate thing. But like I said, it's fascinating to see how he reacts. I know he's playing this week, but I've not seen him since Pinehurst. But certainly at Troon, if he gets off to a good start, how he reacts, you know, I don't know. It might free him up a bit. I don't know.
The cynic in me does have suspicion that, obviously, I think off the course, I don't imagine things have been very pleasant for him. I know kind of things have hopefully been resolved, but I don't usually, like, if that's going on, like, I don't doubt Scheffler's off-field thing at Valhalla played a part in how he performed the days after. But McIlroy, I'm not really sure about that because he did so well getting into it. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't in contention up until the last kind of big point of the tournament where it kind of really turned. So he's so good at getting into those stages. Is it just always he leaves it too late? Like that's always been my thought with him, is that he'll either start really badly and then grow into it, and by then you're like, he's 3 shots back, but you've looked at him going, he's been the best player the last 3 days, but he blew it in the first day. Or he starts brilliantly and then you don't really see him again. Like,
I know.
The US Open, he did neither. He started pretty well, was solid the last 2 days, and then was there at the end, and it's probably 2 putts away from ending.
Oh,
well, it must be a massive burden. It must be to not win a major in 10 years and to see all these guys that are like Koepka's got 4, DeChambeau's now got 2, 5, Scheffler's got 2, and we know that's going to grow in the next couple of years. Like Thomas has got 2. All these guys that have been around him are winning majors and multiple majors. Morikawa's got 2 as well. These guys can win more, but McIlroy won a major 7, 8 years before Scheffler. Like, do you know what I mean?
And he's had his chances. I mean, that's going back to your point about like so that he's the way he performs in these competitions. I still go back to what I said. It's such fine margins. I mean, point 5 of a stroke. You look at the strokes gained stuff. 0.5 of a stroke over a 4th round per round, over 4 rounds. That's 2 shots. That it's the margins are for people that maybe don't follow golf as closely as making a real golf fanatic. They don't maybe appreciate how tight it is. It's just I still go down. It's one thing. He's not won a major. I mean, I hate to. I don't know the guy, and he's got a fantastic record. I hate to keep beating this drum, but if you're Rory McIlroy and you look at the last 10 years how you performed, you've got to, why have I not won? It might not be anything to do with this caddy or whatever, but he's not won the facts are he's not won a major with that caddy.
Yeah,
and it's as simple as that. It's something different, sort of different voice, a different. That's what I say about like I've mentioned it's Steve Williams, who's renowned as one of the best caddies, or somebody like that. Somebody to literally just say, "No, what are you doing? Just be harder, or maybe take control of the situation a bit better." That's like, why is he hitting driver at the 18th? What is the caddy when he's not hit driver there all week? Why is he hitting driver there in that moment?
Yeah,
it's maybe oversimplified talking about that, and I do feel bad about I just think that's as an outsider looking in, you look at all the possibilities, and that's one of the ones that.
Well, that's one of the things I would say about Scheffler, why he's been so consistently impressive, is because yes, his talent has been sublime, but he's got. Ted Scott's in the bag. Ted Scott's been so predominant with winners like Bubba. How long was he with Bubba? 1, 2 majors. Think of a more, not controversial, but think of a more one-minded golfer than Bubba Watson at times. And Ted Scott had him well grounded.
It'd be hard, and he'd be hard work as well.
Yeah,
he'd be hard work.
And I think that's a big reason why Scheffler's been so successful, is because Ted Scott's been there. Like, you think of Mickelson, Bones kind of helped him out massively. Michael Greller with Spieth, like when Spieth was coming through, Michael Greller was had such a big impact. Fluff with Tiger at the start. You do need that. You do need that experienced head. And I don't know Harry Diamond. I've never been around him, but I always get the feeling that he is Rory's pal.
And that, like I said, that's, to me, it's obviously that's oversimplifying it, and there's a lot more to it. Like I said, they've won tournament, they won. He could have been instrumental in many of his victories. It's just there's because of technology and everything else, that at the top of the game, the margins have shrunk so much. That's why what Scheffler's doing is ridiculous, because there's so much talent. You look at the amount of 59s that guys are shooting now.
Yeah.
Somebody got 59. God, Hayden, can't remember his name, to John Deere, and literally never batted an eyelid. You know, you're like, oh, well, great. You know, and that's it. You know, and the talent is so. So these guys have got to look at every single minuscule thing they could get out of their game or their process or their team or whatever, and evaluate it all. You know, and it seems over. Like I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'd hate him being down the guy like you're saying, but it's the only stone left unturned.
Yeah,
that's the best way I could describe it. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a tough one if it is so close to him and stuff, but that's what these guys do. You know, the top ones
absolutely.
do.
Major news coming out of America today that on Tuesday, probably after this goes out, the PGA of America are going to announce the American Ryder Cup captain. Long expected to potentially be Tiger Woods. We understand that is not going to be the case. It looks like it's going to be Keegan Bradley. First of all, Andy, with the story that Tiger, who I think a lot of people had thought this was going to be his time to do it. I'm not overly surprised, to be honest. But
no, I didn't really. I didn't. I mean, probably Mickelson would be an ideal Ryder Cup captain if in a parallel universe, because that's not going to happen. But he's more of a. I know Tiger's done the President's Cup, but he was playing as part of the team as well. I mean, he famously picked himself, giving it all the reason why he picked himself. He didn't just say, "No, I'm picking myself." He kind of went through all that, and I don't know. I think I'm like you. I'm not overly surprised. He is an obvious candidate because of who he is, and he is close to a lot of the players, but. I think that'll be a tough one at Brookline as well, you know. And I think if he's going to do it, I think he wants a lot of the odds stacked in his favour. I know Americans will be red hot favourites because it will be hostile and all that. But if it does go south, you know, it's a big. I think the way Europe performed the last time and Luke Donald was fantastic as well. So,
are you surprised? I know the talent pool's limited, but are you surprised that they've went back with Luke?
No, really. I think the support he got, and straight the players all wanted him to do it, and I think he came in a really difficult circumstance. Obviously, Benson quite fairly late on, and he done so well. So I think it was a pretty. If he wanted to do it, I think it was a pretty easy choice for them to make. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it is. Who we think it's going to be announced tomorrow. So
I think it's a great call. Like,
it's interesting.
Yeah, like there's obviously other names floating about. Like, I think Stuart Sink was mentioned. I believe I've seen like Fred Couples, Matt Kuchar have all been linked. They're probably going to be part of it in some way. But I just think like somebody like Keegan Bradley, who we know famously probably should have been there last year, like. He will have a bit of a fire in him because of that. Like, I think the Americans who really underperformed last year, I think if they do go with somebody like Keegan Bradley, I can't think of anyone better at the moment to really kind of go under the radar and not be like a first name you think of. I think the worry I would have with Tiger being captain is Tiger's presence would be so dominant. And like Tiger's picks would be under so much pressure because they're the Tiger Ryder Cup picks. They probably, do you know what I mean? Like, imagine that it's like Pep picks a five-a-side team. Who's he going to pick? Like, it's that big. And like, I do think the Americans are. I do think this is going to be a very, very good Ryder Cup. If they go with Keegan Bradley, though, I can't think of anyone better, and he'll have a fuel in the fire. Really, really intrigued to see what they do here. Obviously, Luke Donald's going to take over again, so be really, really interesting. Again, Ryder Cup next year will be very, very interesting. We had a Scottish winner this week heading into the Scottish Open. Ewan Ferguson, a very emotional Ewan Ferguson, clinched his spot at Troon. Third win in the DP World Tour, first win in 2 years, won by 2 strokes. Really, really good. Obviously, he's had a bit of a difficult time recently. Really, really happy for Ewan Ferguson, and again, just full ahead to Troon for him, and what an occasion that'll be for him.
Aye, absolutely. It's always brilliant for Scottish golf to have success. You know, obviously we had it earlier on this season with Robert McIntyre winning in America or in Canada, sorry, on the PGA Tour. That was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, great to have another Scottish winner, especially going into this week, the Scottish Open, and so close to the Open. I mean, he's obviously playing, as you know, probably that's probably the biggest one in his career. So he's probably playing as good as he ever has. So what a time to start playing well, you know. And it just gives everyone a bit of interest as well. Going into certainly this week, but more importantly, certainly going into Troon. So again, it was great to see from our kind of local area, Jack McDonald qualifying.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, because it just gives. It's always such a great story, kind of hometown guy, you know, qualifying and playing, representing the kind of area and the Open that we had it last year with his name escapes me, but the boy from Liverpool from Hoylake that qualified as well. So that was brilliant. So no, it's good little kind of shot in the arm for Scottish golf. We kind of need it. We need kind of guys like this, guys like him, Conor Syme. You might see it. I actually quite fancy Conor Syme to do well this week.
Yeah,
he's not in the Open, and it's very common when you see
he can still qualify though, can't he? Like there are still places
qualify this week, but he's very close to you. And when you see, sometimes you see compatriots doing well, it can spur you on as well. So hopefully he'll have a good week this week and can join them. But no, it was great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the Scottish Open coming up this week. Obviously, the prelude to the main event. Obviously, this week always a big field. Always some big players come. Rory's coming. Xander Schauffele. We've got Morikawa, Auberge going. You've got obviously the Open champion Brian Harman. You've got a really good field. Hovland's there. Matsuyama. This is always really interesting event. We saw it last year. Brilliant finish between McIntyre and Rory. Like, quite surprised McIntyre hasn't actually turned up. I don't know if there's anything I've not heard, but I thought he would be here.
I thought, that's a surprise to me. I know he was at Troon.
Oh no, sorry, I do apologise. He is there. He is.
Oh, is he? Is he? Right. I was going to say he's been down. He was down at Troon playing during the week because I know someone was caddying for him, and he said he really fancied him to do it. I mean, obviously he played great. Obviously, you know, he's in great form, but so he's been down. That's the first time he'd ever played at Troon, believe it or not. So that's surprising. That's surprising. But it'll be. It's a designated. I mean, let's face it. This week's a huge week. It's one of the designated events in the PGA Tour. You know, so it's a huge event out with them, you know, as being the kind of warm up for the Open as well. So a great field. So yeah, it always gives you a little bit of insight. I always kind of a wee bit wary with if some of the guys are maybe not in contention with a couple of rounds to go, how they actually go about it. Do they treat it as a bit of a obviously a lot of money at stake, so it might be slightly different now, but do they treat it maybe as a wee bit of a kind of high level warm up for, you know, hitting certain shots and different things? But no, it'll be great to see. Just hopefully the weather is good as well the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's people who are watching who are heading to Troon. The weather has been rubbish. I don't know, it's been so bad. Like, I am literally watching half of the sky as bright as anything, the other half is so dark, and that's just summed up Scotland over the past 18 months. Like, so we're in for next week. But the three guys I want to give a mention to that I think could do pretty well at the Renaissance Club this week. I think Tom Kim is somebody who really impressed me. Like last year at Liverpool. I think in terms of kind of what he's in, he's always done well at the Open, really good at St Andrews a couple of years ago. He seems to do well, was third in this tournament 2 years ago as well. Loves the course, has always been seems to really be one to keep an eye on in links golf. I think he could be one to watch the week after as well. Eric Van Rooyen. I remember having a bet with somebody in my old work, you know, where I used to work. I used to work in a golf shop in Irvine. I remember having a bet with somebody that Eric Van Rooyen would be in the places for the Open when it was at Carnoustie, and he was so close. He's a good links player. Think he could do pretty well. He's really impressed. Top 20 in 2 of his 3 Opens. In pretty good form this year, pretty solid. Top 20 for shots gained in terms of putting this season, so I'm really considering him. Thomas Daytree is my solid pick here. His form this season has been excellent. Big hitter. Don't know how he got on at Troon because I'm not sure Troon will suit him. I think Renaissance could be his place though. Done well at Pebble Beach, as we know. He could be, for me, one of the sneaky players here. He has finished the top 10 last year. I don't think he shot an over par round at Renaissance. I'm pretty sure I'm right in that. I'm sure I looked at that the other day. Thomas Daytree at Renaissance could be a good bet, but 70 to 1, I think you can get him. Having my 3 for the week.
I like Tom Kim, definitely. I think he's a bet. He's performed well around there as well. Yeah, I mean, I think Schauffele's done well around Renaissance.
Yeah,
he's probably vying between him and Bryson to see who's probably the second best, and Rory, to be fair. After the US Open, certainly top 3-4 players in the world. So it wouldn't surprise me if he had a good week and a good week the week after. I've got a really sneaky one for the Open, but I'll keep my powder dry. Well, not a sneaky one, a really strong one for the Open, but I'll let that be known at a later date. But yeah, I think Schauffele, Tom Kim, like I said, one for me, a kind of homegrown one. I'd love to see doing well with the corner side.
Yeah.
Again, outsider, but his part of the world over there, so he's not a million miles away from home. So he's played it a million times. So I'd love to see him play well.
I've got a thought. Do you remember when the qualifying was at? I'm sure it was Glasgow Gales. I can't remember the year. It might have been. It was definitely before COVID. I can't remember where the Open was. And the qualifying was at Glasgow Gales and Connor Syme. That was the first time I'd heard his name. And he drove the second hole at Glasgow Gales. Is it short par 4? Is it? He drove it. And I was like, whoa, keep an eye on him. And he missed out by one shot. Did Montgomery qualify? Was it 2016?
Montgomery
could have been 2016. It was 2016 actually. And that was the first name I'd heard the name Connor Syme. Since then, I've kept a real eye on him, and he's due a big moment.
Yeah,
he could be. Yeah, Callum Hill's another one I think could be pretty.
And that's it. There is a good. A lot of people kind of bemoan the standard of Scottish golf and the performance, but it's just breaking through. And someone like, again, Ewan Ferguson was probably, obviously, he would have been delighted to see Bob McIntyre winning. So again, when you see your compatriots do well, it really helps elevate it. You see it a lot with the kind of Scandinavian players. In the ladies' game, it's incredibly prevalent when you see, some of them when one of them wins, you see all the kind of compatriots at the side of the green to wait for it. It's really understated. So hopefully, with Ewan doing really well, it can elevate the rest of the players because they're such good players. They really are. And
we're talking about obviously Open qualifying as well. It was in Dundonald this year, but you're looking at who was turning up in the other ones as well. Like Rose qualified, Abraham Answer qualified. Like it's always it's worth going to that as well, just to see who you can see, and you've got a bit more kind of like flexibility. You can kind of get up close to them and things like that as well. So there's a lot to enjoy about what's coming up this week. We've got a really thrilling couple weeks. Well, we've also got kind of Live Andalusia as well. Like there's some that's interesting. I always like Andalusia. I always love that course to watch it and. Definitely be keeping an eye on that, but it's all about the Scottish Open, the prelude to the Open. We'll announce what's coming up next week. We'll have a bumper Open preview, which will drop next Monday. We'll have every day. We'll have daily Open content. We'll obviously be doing some post game stuff after all 4 days. We'll be at the Open a couple of days as well. Hopefully, we'll try to do some live stuff as well. We'll try and get a couple of interviews. So, full steam ahead to the Open, Andy. I cannot wait. I am genuinely like a kid at Christmas, especially when it's literally 10 minutes for your front door. It's so exciting.
It really is, and it's always one of the main highlights of the season, but especially when it's close to you, and now we're so close that, like you said, just so the weather plays ball,
I've had a wee
nice to
look.
see a bit of wind. I think it's a bit mixed, a bit of wind, but dry would be great. But
the one day I think it's to be really good is Tuesday, like next week. Just what I've looked so far, Tuesday seems to be like a very just sun, no cloud. I'm like, please say that.
Dry is good.
Dry,
good.
just no rain and no wind. We'll be fine. Andy, I can't thank you enough as always, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. And again, best of luck for what's coming up this week. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Tim. Done, folks. We will see you all next week for our bumper open preview. Thanks very much.